However, I have to be honest and say that heavy metal is not one of my favorite genres. I do enjoy a lot of music that you could probably consider to be metal, like Thin Lizzy. I love the band Thin Lizzy. They are kind of metal. I like Iron Maiden. I like some Metallica. I like a lot of the classic metal bands. But metal is a huge genre in itself. There are many different subgenres of metal, and this pop was themed more like a death metal pop. So a more hardcore version of metal, and like I said, to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of that genre. I respect it. It's very technical and the music is very technical with a lot of really fast playing. Especially the drumming is very technical and I really respect that. But I have never been able to really embrace death metal and love it. But it's not like I'm not a fan and it's not like I hate listening to it or anything like that. So I thought it was a really cool place to visit. And I have to be honest and say that I had very low expectations for the food at first. When my friends suggested going to this place, I thought, okay, it's probably a place where you go to have a drink and to listen to some metal, and it's not really an eating place. Well, I was totally wrong about that because I had some of the best Japanese food outside of Japan that I've ever had there in that heavy metal pub. I was shocked. Even the staff at the pub looked a little bit intimidating. They're metalheads also. So, they're these big guys with shaved heads and beards and like lots of tattoos and look a little rough. And so when I saw the chef and the owner of the bar, I thought, well, this place is a little bit scary. Like, what will the menu be like? But it was amazing. I should have I should have written down what we ordered, but I didn't do that. My undercover metalhead friend who had been there before and recommended the place, as soon as we sat down, he just grabbed the menu and took control and just ordered all the food for us. So I'm not exactly sure what he ordered. There were a couple of noodle dishes. There were some skewers, some pork skewers, chicken skewers. There were some soups with noodles, and I wish I could provide you with the exact names of the dishes, but like I said, I didn't even glance at the menu. Glance at the menu. I didn't even glance at the menu. I didn't even get to check it out at all. But I can tell you that it was absolutely delicious. So we had a wonderful meal there. We had a couple of drinks and we listened to some death metal at the same time. And yeah, it was really fun. So that was how I spent my Saturday night. And now I think you will know exactly why it feels like I almost did a world tour here over the weekend without even leaving Seoul, right? On Friday night, I went to the British pub in the embassy, and then on Saturday night, going to the Japanese pub. It feels like I visited two different countries without even leaving Seoul. So it was a busy social weekend, most weekends. I don't even really socialize very much. I'm usually just hanging out with my wife, but last weekend was an exception. And I went out both on Friday night and Saturday night, so it was great to see some friends and just do what you do with friends, right? Which is to catch up and socialize and hang out and laugh and have fun. And I was able to do lots of that last weekend. And now it's time for this weekend vocabulary lesson. Okay, so for this week's vocabulary lesson, I want to teach you about an interesting idiomatic expression that you can use to make your English more colorful and to give it some pop. At the same time, it's also very important to know what this idiom means, so that when you're talking with English speakers or watching movies or TV, then when you hear it, you can understand it. The idiom is to rub shoulders. To rub shoulders. And maybe when you hear this idiom for the first time, you might think of like giving someone a message, like rubbing somebody's shoulders, right? But it has nothing to do with that at all. So to rub shoulders means to interact or associate with someone. And actually, we use it when those people who you are interacting with or associating with are influential people or important people, VIPs, so to speak. Now I use this idiom a little bit earlier when I talked about visiting the Broughton's Club and rubbing shoulders with the diplomats and professors. I want to rewind and go back and listen to that part of the episode just a couple of more times so you can get the context of how I used it when that idiom just came out of my mouth naturally. So let's take a moment here. Let's rewind, go back, and we'll listen to that part a couple more times. Here we go. It's the place where you could go, maybe to rub shoulders with a diplomat or with a respected foreign professor. So as I mentioned, when you rub shoulders with someone, it means that you are interacting or associating or in close proximity to somebody who is important or influential. Now when you rub shoulders with someone, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are speaking with them or that you have a relationship with them. It just means that you are in close physical proximity to them. So for example, when I was at the pub, I didn't actually speak to any ambassadors. I didn't actually speak to any ambassadors. I didn't actually speak to any ambassador. I didn't actually speak to any ambassadors or anything. But there were those kind of people around. So I was rubbing shoulders with them because we were in the same small physical space together. So now, when you hear this idiom, rubbing shoulders, it doesn't mean that you're giving somebody a massage, okay? No. It means that you're in close physical proximity. Maybe in the same room or at the same events or at the same party, something like that. At some influential, important people. Now that we know the meaning I have 3 example sentences that I would like to share with you that will give you some insights into how English speakers use this idiom in their everyday lives when they are having conversations. So let's take a listen to the first example sentence right now. Here we go. One of my good friends went to a private school when she was younger, and that allowed her to rub shoulders with the children of business leaders, politicians, and even some movie stars. Let's break that example sentence down. In that example sentence, we heard about a student who attended a private school, and it sounded like it was an elite school, because that student got to rub shoulders with the children of some very important people in society, with business leaders and politicians and even some movie stars. And again, remember that this idiom to rub shoulders means to be in close proximity to somebody important.